Good. Okay, so topic 4.4, this topic we have to start, okay, and in 2 days we have to finish topic 4.4 also. First of all, there are state symbols. Okay, and for the state symbols, you already know that these are the symbols or the short forms that we use for physical states. Okay, for the states of matter, like for solid substance is S, for liquid substance is L, for gas uh, G, small g, and we use all of them in brackets. All of these state symbols, they are written in brackets. And for aqueous solution, we use AQ, okay, dissolved in water. So for now, from now on, like whatever reactions you will write, like previously you write the symbol equations and you balance them also. Like it was compulsory to balance these symbol equations. Now it's from now on it's compulsory to write the state symbols also. Okay, so because now you will do the reactions of electrolysis. Okay, and in electrolysis you have to write that ions are produced in the aqueous form. Okay, so for the ions, like if you are splitting the ions, then you have to write aqueous with it. Okay, you have to use the state symbols, and if anything is not splitting into its ions, then you have to write that it is a solid, that is why it is not splitting into ions, or this is a liquid covalent compound in the liquid form, that's why it is not splitting into ions. Okay, so you have to mention the state symbols from now on. And also like after this there is a chapter of neutralization and precipitation. In that chapter also it's really important that what are solid precipitates and what is aqueous solution and if a gas is formed or not. Okay, so it's compulsory from now on that you have to write the state symbols. And in the middle, like during explanation, I will also guide you that which things are solids, which things are liquids, which things are gases. Okay, so you will get an idea that how do you know that which compound is a solid and which compound is a liquid. Okay, so I'll guide you in the middle also. Okay, right now there are few examples, three examples in your book of these state symbols. First example is magnesium plus nitric acid gives magnesium nitrate plus hydrogen. So magnesium, as you know, that all the metals are solid. Okay, so all of the metals are solid except mercury. So if all of the if any metal comes in alone form, in a separate form, then it's a solid. Okay, okay, so you will always write solid with it. Then nitric acid. All the acids, okay, all the acids are aqueous. Do you remember this thing that acid needs water? You studied this in one of the class in grade 6 or grade 7. I don't remember which class, but acid needs water. There was a topic of acid needs water. Do you remember? No? Okay, acid needs water to show its properties. Okay, if HCl, for example, if we have hydrochloric acid or hydrogen chloride in the gaseous form, then it will not show its acidic properties. Okay, it will not show its acidic nature or acidic property unless it is dissolved in water. So when we dissolve it in water, then this hydrogen chloride gas, it will become hydrochloric acid aqueous form, then it will show its properties. Okay, so all the acids, they need water to show their properties. Okay, so whenever there is acid, there is an acid, so you will write aqueous with it. Okay, with all the acids. Okay, and potassium nitrate is also aqueous. Potassium nitrate is a salt. Okay, and all nitrate salts are soluble in water. Okay, so please write it somewhere. Okay, these points which I'm telling you, write them in the corner. Okay, as rough work, or write them in the corner that all metals are solid. Okay, all acids are aqueous. Similarly, nitrates all nitrates are also aqueous. Okay, so they are all nitrates are also soluble in water. So when they dissolve in water, they become aqueous. All the nitrates, whether it's potassium nitrate, sodium nitrate, magnesium nitrate, calcium nitrate, any nitrate. Okay, all the nitrates are soluble. So if any nitrate comes, so you will write aqueous with it. Okay, and then hydrogen, obviously you know that hydrogen is a gas. Now the second example is neutralization reaction. Okay, in which we have hydrochloric acid. Again, hydrochloric acid is aqueous. Sodium hydroxide is also aqueous, okay, because all hydroxides are soluble in water except very few. Okay, so right now just write that all hydroxides are soluble except, okay, I'll write it here, that all hydroxides are soluble, means all hydroxides are aqueous except copper hydroxide and zinc hydroxide. Okay, right now I know about only these two, that copper hydroxide and zinc hydroxide, they are insoluble in water, so they are in the solid form. Okay, these two are in the solid form, except these two, all the hydroxides are soluble. So if any hydroxide comes, then you will write aqueous with it. Okay, except these two. Then NaCl, again NaCl is aqueous, and water is in the liquid form. Okay, water is not considered as aqueous because the substance become aqueous when it is dissolved in water. Okay, so water itself is liquid, it is not aqueous. Water itself is a liquid, but when anything dissolves in water, then it becomes aqueous, then its state changes into aqueous. Okay, so this is the neutralization reaction. Then number 3, we have the example of copper sulfate, a precipitation reaction. Okay, this is a precipitation reaction. Precipitation reaction. So we have copper sulfate aqueous. Okay, now this is sulfate. Okay, for the sulfate also I will write here that all the sulfates are soluble. Where should I write? Okay, I'll write here. All sulfates, please boys note them down. Okay, note these points. All sulfates are soluble, means all sulfates are aqueous except the sulfate of lead, calcium, and barium. Okay, it means that lead sulfate, calcium sulfate, and barium sulfate. These three sulfates are solids. They are insoluble in water. Rest of the sulfates are soluble. Okay, all the metal sulfates, like if it is sodium sulfate, magnesium sulfate, aluminium sulfate, copper sulfate, zinc sulfate, okay, all the sulfates are soluble, just with the exception of these three. Okay, so you have to learn these three sulfates, lead, calcium, and barium, these three sulfates are insoluble, rest of the sulfates are soluble. Okay, so calcium sulfate is soluble, sodium hydroxide is aqueous. Okay, copper hydroxide, which we discussed, that copper hydroxide is in the solid form. Okay, all hydroxides are soluble. Okay, copper hydroxide is one of the insoluble hydroxides. So all hydroxides are soluble except copper hydroxide and zinc hydroxide. So zinc hydroxide is insoluble, solid, and sodium sulfate, again, it's a sulfate, so it's soluble. Okay, so these are just the examples of state symbols. And please note down these points. Okay, which things are soluble and which things are not soluble. Understood? Any question?
No, man.
Okay, then we have ionic equations. Okay, how to write the ionic equations and what are ionic equations. So first of all, write the definition, that what is ionic equation and what it tells us. Okay, ionic equation tells us about the ions whose state or physical state, okay, state changes during the reaction. Whose state changes during the reaction. Okay, means previously we will talk about in ionic equations, we will write about those ions which changes during the reaction, like in the starting and on the reactants they were aqueous, but in the product side they are in the solid form or in the gaseous form or in the liquid form. Okay, so we'll talk about those ions in ionic equation, or we will write those ions in the ionic equation whose state changes during the reaction. Okay, like for example, if you see this equation of magnesium, magnesium plus nitric acid gives magnesium nitrate plus hydrogen. You have these state symbols in front of you. Can you tell me which substance state changes during the reaction? State is
Magnesium.
changing.
Magnesium.
Yes,
Well,
magnesium is changing. Good. And
hydrogen.
hmm, hydrogen is also changing. Okay, so magnesium previously in on the reactant side it is solid, but in the product side magnesium is aqueous. Okay, and hydrogen hydrogen is present in aqueous form, it HNO3. In nitric acid it was aqueous, but after the reaction it's gas. So in the ionic equation we will write these ions, okay, these substances which state changes, whose state changes during the reaction. And nitrate, you can see the nitrate, it was aqueous before and after the reaction also it is aqueous. Okay, so there are some ions which remain same, whose state remains same during the reaction, and there are some ions whose state changes during the reaction. Okay, so ionic equation, it represents the ions whose state changes. Okay, and then on the same page, on the other side you can see that there is a term spectator ions. Okay, now what are spectator ions? Spectator ions are opposite to ionic equation. In ionic equation we'll write about those ions whose state changes, and spectator ions are those ions whose state remains same. Okay, whose state remains same, they are spectator ions which will not change. Like in first example we saw that nitrate ion NO3, it was aqueous before in the reactant side, and in the product side also it was aqueous, and NO3 aqueous. Okay, so that is spectator ion whose state remains same on both sides. Okay, so how to write the ionic equation? Let's take the example of this neutralization reaction. Okay, this is one neutralization reaction and they're asking you to write the ionic equation for this reaction. Okay, now how you will write the ionic equation for this reaction? The first step is you will split it. If it is an aqueous, if it is aqueous, then in aqueous form, we know that when we dissolve something in water, it splits into its ions. Okay, it splits into its ions. So we will write the ions of it. Like HCl, it will split into H positive aqueous plus Cl negative aqueous. Okay, so HCl will split into its ions, H positive and Cl negative aqueous. Plus NaOH will also split because it's aqueous. So Na positive aqueous plus OH negative aqueous. Okay, and this will happen only in ionic compounds. Okay, because in ionic compounds there are positive and negative charges. There is no positive and negative in covalent compound. Okay, because covalent compound you studied in first term, then that covalent compound is formed by the sharing of electrons. Okay, by the sharing of electrons, so there is no positive, no negative in covalent compound. Okay, so if it is a covalent compound, then obviously it will not split into its ions, only the ionic compound will split. Okay, after the arrow, NaCl aqueous, so it will split, it's an ionic compound, so Na aqueous plus Cl negative aqueous plus this H2O, it will not split into its ions, so we will write it as it is. Do you know why it will not split?
And because it is a covalent compound.
Yes, it's a covalent compound. Very good. Okay, it will not split into ions because it's a covalent compound, and we will write H2O liquid. Same. Okay, now because we are writing ionic equation, okay, and in ionic equation we have to write about those ions whose states are changing. Okay, whose states are changing. So we will cancel the ions which are same on both sides. Okay, so it means we are, in short, we are cancelling the spectator ions. So the ions whose state remains same on reactants and both or reactant and product both sides, so we will cancel them. Okay, so what ions are the same on both sides, whose state is same?
Na.
Very good. Na aqueous, Na positive aqueous on reactant side, and product side is a
And
spectator
Cl.
ion.
Cl.
Yeah, and chlorine also, chloridine, Cl negative and Cl negative equal on both sides. Okay, and now we will write, we have cancelled the spectator ions, the same ions we cancel them out, and now we will write the rest of the ions separately. Okay, here it is written ionic equation in your book. H positive aqueous, we'll write it down, H positive aqueous, and then OH negative aqueous, OH negative aqueous, and H2O liquid, H2O liquid. Okay, this is the ionic equation for the above neutralization reaction. Okay, that's how you write the ionic equation. First, you will split it into its ions. Okay, you will split all of them, all of the ionic compounds into their ions. Okay, and then you will cancel the spectator ions, means the ones whose state is same on both sides. You will cancel them out, same. Okay, and then the different ones you will write them down. Okay, you can see in ionic equation that H positive is aqueous and OH negative is also aqueous, but after the reaction it's liquid, it is forming liquid, H and OH is forming liquid. Okay, so the state is changing. So that this is what we want in ionic equation. Then we'll write the ions whose state changes during a reaction. Okay, so this is the ionic equation. Any problem, boys, right now?
No, ma'am, no problem.
Okay, then let's do another example. On the next page there is an example of copper sulfate. Okay, copper sulfate plus NaOH. Okay, and the final form is written. Okay, it's not written that how this equation is obtained. Okay, so let's write how this equation is obtained. First we will write the ions. Okay, copper sulfate is aqueous, it's an ionic compound in the aqueous form, so it will split, and sodium hydroxide also, it will also split because it's aqueous. Okay, so copper 2 plus sulfate ion. Okay, both of them are aqueous. Okay, don't forget to write the state symbols also, aqueous, plus 2Na positive aqueous plus 2OH negative aqueous. Okay, because and this will be this 2 is multiplied with Na and OH both. Okay, this is about the reactants. Now let's see the products. Okay, this copper hydroxide, it is in the solid form, so will it split or not?
No, ma'am.
Yeah, it will not split because ionic compound is very strong. Okay, ionic compound, the force of attraction between the positive and negative ion is so strong that it will not split. Okay, and in the solid form we know that solid arrangement is very tightly packed, it's like this. They're very close to each other, the force of attraction is very high, very strong. So the positive and negative ions, they are attached with each other very strongly. Okay, positive negative, like this. Okay, so ionic compound in the solid form will not split. Okay, so we will write it as it is. Copper hydroxide, solid. Okay, plus this sodium sulfate is in aqueous form, so it will split. 2Na positive plus SO4, 2 negative. Okay, please write this down. Write down this line because it's not written in the book, that how you obtain that final form. Okay, how to obtain this final ionic equation. So this is the middle step. You will split them into their ions, Now you will cancel the spectator ions. Yes, tell me what are the spectator ions which are same on both sides. We'll cancel them out.
2Na.
Yeah, 2Na and 2Na on both sides. And
Sulfate.
Good, sulfate ions. Sulfate ions are same on both sides, aqueous, aqueous. Okay, and then the rest of the thing we'll write down. This copper plus 2 will come down, copper plus 2. Okay, 2OH negative, 2OH negative, aqueous. Okay, CuOH whole twice, solid, CuOH whole twice, solid. It will come down as it is. Okay, the rest of the things we will write down. Okay, so this will give us the ionic equation. This is the ionic equation for the above reaction. Okay, so in the questions after this topic, there are some questions on in 4.9, I think. In question number 4.9, there are some questions in which the equation is given to you and you have to develop the ionic equation for it. Okay, so that's how you write the ionic equation. You will split them into their ions. Okay, and then you will cancel the spectator ions and write the rest of the equation down. And you can see that copper is aqueous, hydroxide is also aqueous, and aqueous, they are combining to form a solid substance. So this we are writing those ions whose state is changing during the reaction. Okay, so this is all about ionic equations. Then we have redox reactions. Is it clear, boys? How to write the ionic equation?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now the redox reactions, first on this page, it's written the introduction. The thing which we already studied, that reduction oxidation in terms of oxygen, we already studied. Now we will learn the definition in terms of electrons. Okay, so I prepared these notes last time explaining redox reactions, and we can use these notes this time also. Okay, so I will share it with you. So I'm teaching the rest of the classes also from these notes, and all the examples, all the explanation which is in the book, it's also written here. Okay, but in the attractive form. Okay, in more open form. So it's the page 101 plus 102. Okay, the definition. First of all, the types of reactions. Two types of reactions, oxidation and reduction. And first definition we studied about oxidation is the addition of oxygen, and reduction is the removal of oxygen. Okay, which we studied last week. And the example, copper plus oxygen gives copper oxide. So copper is adding oxygen in it. Okay, oxygen is added in copper, so copper itself, it will oxidize. Okay, and this equation is oxidation. And the other example is copper oxide. When we heat it, it will decompose into, it will break down into copper and oxygen, means copper and oxygen will come out. Okay, so oxygen is being removed from copper oxide. So copper oxide is said to be reduced. Okay, because oxygen is removed from it. So oxygen is added in copper. Okay, the explanation is written here, that copper is said to be oxidized. Why? Because if a substance gains oxygen during a reaction, it is oxidized. Okay, so copper is here gaining oxygen. And copper oxide is said to be reduced. Again, why? Why it is reduced? Because if a substance loses oxygen during a reaction, then it is reduced. Okay, you already studied this. Okay, then we have redox reactions. A reaction, the reaction in which reduction and oxidation is occurring simultaneously, means at the same time in same reaction. Oxidation and reduction happens, means loss of electron and gain of electron is happening at the same time in one reaction, that is redox reaction. And this is the example. Zinc oxide plus carbon gives zinc plus carbon monoxide. Okay, we studied this example also. So zinc is, it's just a review of the previous lecture. Zinc oxide is becoming zinc. So what is happening here from zinc oxide to zinc?
Reduction.
Yes, reduction. There is removal of oxygen happening. Good. Okay. And from carbon to carbon monoxide, what is happening?
Oxidation.
Oxidation.
Yes, oxidation is happening, addition of oxygen. So which substance is reduced and which substance is oxidized?
Zinc oxide is reduced and copper is oxide.
Zinc oxide, because here from zinc oxide to zinc, reduction is happening. So zinc oxide is said to be reduced. Okay. And for
Carbon,
yeah, and carbon is
oxidized.
good, oxidized. Okay. Which one is reducing agent and which one is oxidizing agent?
Zinc oxide is oxidizing agent and carbon is
Hmm.
reducing.
Zinc oxide is oxidizing agent, because I told you that the substance which is reduced is oxidizing agent. Okay. And the substance which is oxidized is reducing agent. Okay. But what's the reason? Why zinc oxide is oxidizing agent?
Because it is losing oxygen.
Ma'am,
Um,
it gives its oxygen to another element.
yeah. Okay, this is the reason that zinc is losing its oxygen. This is the reason for being reduced. Okay, zinc oxide is reduced because it is removing oxygen from it. Okay, but it is an oxidizing agent because it is adding oxygen to the other. Okay, zinc oxide is giving its oxygen to carbon. That's why it is oxidizing agent. Okay, and why carbon is a reducing agent?
Because it is taking away oxygen from zinc.
Yeah, from zinc oxide. Okay, from zinc oxide means it is removing oxygen or it is taking oxygen away from zinc oxide. That's why it is reducing agent. So you have to know the reasons also. Okay, and here I note down, I wrote 4 points, 4 reasons that why carbon is oxidized, why zinc oxide is reduced, why carbon is reducing agent, and why zinc oxide is oxidizing agent. Okay, the reasons are also written here, and inshallah I will share it with you, all my notes. Okay, then we have the new thing, the main thing, redox reactions in terms of electrons. Okay, on page 101 the definition is written. You must have heard about this thing, this oil rig thingy.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Oil rig. So oil means oxidation is the
Loss of
is yes, loss of electrons, and reduction is
the gain of electrons.
yeah, from rig, or reduction is gain of electrons. Okay, so this is the definition in terms of electrons, that oxidation is the loss of electrons and reduction is the gain of electrons. Okay, in terms of oxygen the definition was different, that if we say in terms of oxygen, then oxidation is the gain of oxygen. It's the gain of oxygen in terms of oxygen, but in terms of electrons oxidation is the loss of electrons. Okay, it's the opposite, so don't mix them up. And reduction, if we see in terms of oxygen, then reduction is the loss of electrons or removal sorry, loss of oxygen or removal of oxygen was reduction. Okay, it is reduction, but in terms of electrons it's the gain of electrons. Okay, so it's the opposite this time. So remember this oil rig, then you learn the definition also. Oxidation is loss and reduction is gain of electrons. And here are simple examples. Okay, we have copper 2 plus. Now when does plus sign comes on anything?
When it
When it
loses.
gives its two electrons.
When it loses the electrons. Okay, the plus sign comes when anything loses the electrons. So if anything is already positive, it means that it has a deficiency of 2 electrons. It has deficiency of electrons. Okay, or it is lacking electrons. Like for example, if I have like pencil box, okay, there should be one pencil, one eraser, one sharpener, one scale, okay, one thing. And if I give my one ruler to other student, then I have the deficiency on my box. Plus charge will come because I have given the ruler, okay, but plus sign means that I have a deficiency now of a ruler. I need the ruler to complete my set. Okay, so if anything is positive, it means that it has a deficiency of electrons. Okay, so copper 2 plus means copper is lacking 2 electrons, so it needs 2 electrons to complete itself. Okay, so it will take the 2 electrons. If it takes 2 electrons and become copper neutral, copper 0, copper neutral, it's the reduction. Okay, reduction is going on here because reduction is a gain of electrons. So when it gains 2 electrons to complete itself, then it's the reduction. Okay, and we will say that copper is reduced. Copper 2 plus is reduced. Did you get it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and for the loss of electrons, oxidation, this is the last thing of today's lecture. Copper, if it is neutral, okay, copper neutral, it is giving 2 electrons. After the reaction, it gives 2 electrons and become copper 2 plus after losing 2 electrons. Okay, so here the losing of electrons is happening, loss of electrons is happening. So this equation is oxidation. Okay, and copper 0 is said to be oxidized because it has lost its 2 electrons. Okay, copper 2 plus in this equation, copper 2 plus is reduced because it has gained 2 electrons. Okay, and in the other equation, copper 0 is oxidized because it has lost its 2 electrons. Are you getting it?
Yes,
Clear voice? Okay, and then
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, in the next class we'll start from the examples which are in the book. Okay, so example of zinc. Okay, this zinc 1 example, and we have another example on the next page of chlorine plus potassium iodide. Okay, so we'll do these 2 examples and the question answers tomorrow, inshallah.
okay, ma'am.
Okay, beta. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz,
Allah
ma'am.
Hafiz, ma'am.
Last ma'am.
Hafiz.
Yes, ma'am.
Bye bye. Allah Hafiz.